So again, hello everyone, and thank you for joining us today. It's our third webinar as part of series on how to boost customer engagement with push notifications, in-app messages, and emails, all the channels that you can find in Pushwoosh platform. And today we're going to talk about the topic that, based on the number of registrations, many care about. Today we'll figure out together how to get higher push notifications CTR. And in the next 20 minutes, we're going to talk about how to choose the right metrics by which you can measure push notifications campaigns efficiency, the anatomy of high push notifications CTR and factors that influence it. We'll look at industry-based benchmarks and talk about effective tips and methods that will help you to increase your push notification CTR right after we finish the webinar. So I guess we should start. Okay, there is some problem with the slides. I see. Yes. So talking about the efficiency of push notification campaigns, there are 7 useful metrics that you might want to include in your reports. So here are they. Of course, CTR is very important KPI, but not only one. Among others are conversion rate or CR, revenue, average revenue per user or RPIU, retention, opt-outs, and uninstalls of the application. So let's talk about the most important one, the CTR. There are actually 2 main ways how push notification providers calculate your CTR. The first one is finding the relationship between the number of users who opened the particular push notification and the number of push that were delivered. The other way is finding the relationship between the number of users who opened this particular push notification and the number of push sent. It's obvious that not all push notifications that were sent were delivered. So in this case, if you use the first method of calculation, you'll get the higher CTR. If your goal not just to deliver specific news or inform users about your apps or features updates, you want to understand if your push notification really influenced your users' behavior somehow, you probably should focus on the CR or the conversion rate metrics. With it, you may track how many of your users performed the action or the event that you wanted to motivate them to perform with your push notification. You may count how many of your users actually read your article or watched the video or the live stream, tried your new feature, added a product to the shopping cart, or made some purchases. If your goal is mainly the monetization, the GMV, or revenue growth, you might be interested in the third metric, the revenue. This metric will help you to track how much revenue your push campaign generated. You can easily track the revenue or the conversion rate in Pushwoosh just with the help of the conversion tracking feature. If you haven't used it yet, you may just contact us after the webinar and we will show you how to use it. But as we see in our experience, these features are particularly useful for e-commerce apps, especially the revenue one, product apps that have a lot of features, that have a lot of models in their applications. So if you're interested, just let us know. And the ARPU, or the average revenue per user, just shows you how much revenue was generated per campaign per user. So just the whole revenue is divided by the number of users who paid for in-purchase a product for a product in your application. So another important metric for push notifications is retention. The reality is that within the first week of install, apps typically lose from 80 to 90% of their users. But once a new user of your mobile app hits the 7-day mark, the risk for churn drops considerably. So we advise to invest more in retention with push notifications, and if done right, push notifications may really boost your retention up to 40%. at least these are the average results that we're getting with our clients if we create together onboarding push-notification flows. So I'm not sure if we should dive into the formula right now that we wrote it here, but this is the formula that we use in Pushwoosh. And if you don't calculate it by yourself, you might just copy it and use for your needs. And the last two metrics are opt-outs and uninstalls. They basically show you how many users were dissatisfied with your push notification campaign and either opted out from receiving push notifications or uninstalled the app. So if you care a lot about the app installs, you should take into account these metrics. So basically, now I guess we should move further. Before the webinar, we asked our users what questions do they have about the conversion, the click-through rate, the CTR, and we've got a lot of answers. Thank you about that. But here are the three most popular questions that we received from our users. So the first one is that okay that my mobile push notification CTR is higher than on web? And yes, it's absolutely okay. In most cases, mobile push notifications show higher conversion rate, so there's nothing to worry about. Now browsers put more and more restrictions on web push notifications, so the deliverability is not so good as we want it to be. So mobile apps, we should say, is definitely what you should invest in the future. And this is a normal case. Another question is it okay that I have much more people who opted in on Android than iOS? Yes, that's absolutely okay. You know that if you want to send notifications to your Android users, you don't have to ask them to permission to send them push notifications. On iOS, on the contrast, you have to show them this system notification that should agree with, and they should give you permission to send them push notifications. So the opt-in rates typically lower on iOS than on Android. So again, there's nothing to worry about this case. And the last question is, what is the average CTR for a company like me? And it's the most difficult question because CTR, it depends not only in the industry, but on much more factors. And here are the factors that influence your push notification CTR. First, yes, it's industry, it's time and day when you send the push notification, it's the platform, it's the average engagement level of your app's users, it's the segment to who you want to communicate your push notification, and it's the content. And here we should also consider the fact that all these factors are interconnected. For example, e-commerce apps typically have higher conversion rates and CTRs than media applications and publishing ones. However, most often it's due to the fact that they use more advanced segmentation in their campaigns so that all their key segments receive more personalized content and messages and react to it in a better way. So in addition to it, e-commerce applications are more concentrated on such metrics as revenue, as GMV, and so they usually plan their campaigns in advance. Media applications, for example, they don't have such an opportunity. They try to deliver news as fast as possible, so they just can't choose the day to send their notifications. They typically send, in our experience, like 20 or 30 pushes a day. So you just can't find the best time to send in this case. And the same applies to platforms and the segments. Android, for example, has much better coverage in Europe than in the United States. However, opt-in rates and CTRs on Android typically higher on the iOS. So when analyzing the performance and trying to understand some patterns of users' behavior in different regions and among users who use different platforms, we should keep in mind these peculiarities. Here on this slide, you may see the average click-through rate among industries. As you may see, the highest CTR belongs to apps from health and fitness industry, e-commerce, utilities, education, and entertainment. And the industries with the lowest push notification CTR are media apps, retail, and travel. And why does it happen? So let's go deeper into the reasons why it happens so. In our experience, media and publishing apps are more focused on the articles they publish than on the way how they present them and with which messages do they deliver it. Breaking news that target a wide audience typically get higher CTRs. However, more specific and niche content that are sent to the whole user base will inevitably show lower CTRs. So working with push title, subtitle, adding dynamic content, adding segmentation in your push notification strategy really helps to get higher CTRs in this case. In addition to it, segmentation of the audience based on either the preferences or the history of the content the audience consumed in the past may, in our experience, increase the CTR up to 40%, in some cases in 50%. That all belongs to the magic of trigger communications and our customer journey builder. As opposed to it, the leaders became leaders mainly because of the following factors. Using segmentation, while using segmentation, they carefully segment their audience not only based on their social and demographic characteristics, but based on their behavior in the past and based on the behavior, based on the events they fire in the real time. It's also the highly personalized content that they help them to increase their CTRs. By highly personalized content, I mean using dynamic content in their messages, using emojis, using custom sounds, using some extraordinary push icons that help users to find the push notification from this application, among others. So based on what we said before, when we say there are 6 main ways and methods that may help you improve your CTR. I guess my slides. Yes, can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can currently like the push notification structure. Oh, yeah, now we can have like the full list of different ways.
Yes, we missed this slide. Yeah, it's just the parts of the push notification that you may customize, like title, subtitle, push icon, root params, sounds. All this you may personalize with the help of dynamic content and get higher CTRs, as I said before. And so based on what I've said, when we just summarize the 6 main ways and methods that might help you to improve your CTR, it's mainly personalization, emojis, dynamic content, and custom sound, segmentation, and A/B testing. So Mike, I think you may show us how to make A/B testing in Pushwoosh and tell us more about it.
Yeah, sure thing. I'll be more than happy to show you the ways how we can A/B test your push notifications on different types of communication with your users. So let me share my screen. Irina, can you please share the presenter to the right with me?
Sure.
Yeah, basically, I will show you like the main 2 ways how you can plan content inside Pushwoosh, like for one-time messages and for like a more bigger and complex journeys, and how we can use A/B testing to find the right content and the right time to communicate with your audience. Meanwhile, if you have any questions about the presentation or about the information that Irina shared, you can just share it in the chat. Me and Max will be happy to answer you. So by the way, we have Max being on the call as well. He is a head of customer success here in Pushwoosh. So we are ready to help you with any questions you have. Irina, I think that you can just stop sharing your screen for a moment and then pass the presenter right to me. I will take the lead from there.
Yeah, sure. I guess I gave you the rights.
Oh.
Can you please check it?
Yes, now I have them. Thanks. Many thanks. Yep, great. So let me start from the easy thing, like the testing for one-time push notification content. So basically in Pushwoosh control panel, in push notification channel, we have the specific functionality that will help you to find the right content that you can send to your audience. So in one-time push model, I see here like this button, start A/B test. And when I select it, I'm able to set several groups with a different content. For example, there will be like the one preset, meaning the one type of message that I have with the sounds, with the content and so on. But I just would like to test whether or not the personalization is a key for my message. So there will be like basically two groups in my message, the one without personalization and another group with the personalization. Yep, so I have it here. And then I can just simply send this message to my audience, and I will see the results in my push notification stats. So basically, when I do that, in the message history session, there will be like a statistics for my push notification, where I'll see the full results about how many push notifications they were sent, how many of them were opened. So basically, I will be able to track the best content with the highest CTR rate. And for example, later use this content in my automation, trigger communication, and so on. So basically, you can set here up to 4 groups. You can set segments, just as Irina mentioned. So you can just send this A/B test one-time messages, not to the whole base, but to a specific segment that I have, for example, for A/B testing. And only users in this specific segment will receive it. So you can be sure that you won't affect all of your base here. With this tool, you can check like the exact content for the message with the content, with the sounds, with the icons, and with the pictures, and so on, and find the right one for you. So this is a simple tool that will help you to plan the content and to like check the one-time message. But what if I have like a more complex logic where I have like a set of messages, or would like to test not only like the content or like sound and so on, but also I would like to test like the time of the day when to send, or maybe several steps of communication with my audience. For this, we implemented A/B testing in our customer journey builder tool. So I've prepared several scenarios that I would like to share with you right now. So basically, a customer journey is a way how you can plan your communication journeys with the audience on the different use cases. It could be trigger communication or broadcast communication, re-engagement campaigns, welcome campaigns, and so on. Basically, you can plan here everything you'd like to. And A/B testing in the bottom part of your communication. So for example, I can do a simple A/B test using just like 2 different messages. And here I will see the results for each message, the CTRs, the conversion goals for each message. So with this approach, I will be able to understand like the results for each particular message in this product. But what if I would like not to like test the broadcast message when I'm just selecting the segment? For example, in my case, it is this is like for A/B testing segment. I have several ones, but just a set of users that I would like to address to. I can use A/B testing along with the trigger communication. So I can use, for example, if I have like an e-commerce app, I can use product ad event as a starting point for my communication, and then I can just check what type of content will work the best for me. So like maybe the discount for 20% or a discount for 30%, what will be the best for me? So this is a really basic concept of how I can use it without any complex like segmentation or check at the time, but you can implement the scenarios using customer journey with no issues or time to implement. Of course, you can not only just set a message and A/B test, but you can also combine segmentation along with A/B testing. So for example, right now I have like the broadcast sequence of messages, where here I have this A/B test, and then just in one part of my sequence, I have the segmentation part, and here I have like the just simple message. So I will just divide my audience into two parts, and then I test whether or not the segmentation will work the best for me and will increase my results. So using customer journey, I will be able to compare like the different approaches I can have using one simple set of messages here. But I can not only use like the segmentation here. Of course, I can test different times of the day. So with using our wait until functionality, I can set a specific time of the day when my audience will receive the message. So for example, I can test whether or not I should send my message early in the morning or earlier in the evening, for example, at 10 a.m. or 8 p.m., for example. And again, I will see the results right away in the journey. After I activate this journey, I will see the CTR, all about the conversion rates, all about the conversion tracking and the events that users are doing inside the app after opening the push. So this approach will grant me the full visibility of what is happening and how my users react to the messages I send in different times of the day. And of course, I can not like just I can split the audience not only in two parts, like 50-50% in each part of the journey. I can just select the small amount of my audience, and for example, I can test a specific set of messages. For example, in one case, I would like to communicate with my audience using only push notification, and I would like to test whether or not well, another approach will work the best using not only like push notification, but for example, in-app messages. So I can just set like a set of steps. At first, it will be like in-app message that I will send to my audience with the Mighty Upsell communication, meaning that I will address users right inside my app after they perform the specific event. And then I will follow up them with a push notification. So with a customer journey tool, I will be able to, well, check whether or not I should use several channels in my communication instead of only one. Will it be more effective for me? And of course, I can divide my audience several times. So for example, I can not only just split the audience into two parts, but I can just split them again and again and again. Basically, you can do this A/B testing part on every step of your journey, and you can track the right content automatically here, meaning that you will see the results of each flow of each message at every like branch of the journey. And with this approach, you will be able to adapt your communication strategy to the preference of your users and improve like your KPIs and CTR basically. So currently, like we've released this functionality only a month ago. So currently we are helping our customers to implement A/B testing in their journeys. So if you will have any questions or you will need any help from our team, feel free to reach us via the email or support or via the product. We'll be more than happy to help you, maybe just to brainstorm some ideas about what type of A/B test you can have in your app, or maybe just simply to help you to configure them in your app and test it on your own app with your audience to see the results. So I think that's all about the A/B testing. Basically, you can use all of the functionality that Rina mentioned, like with the sounds, content, icons, and so on here in the journey, because I'm using like the content just in the very same way as a one-time push notifications module. So this approach will help you to improve your results. And now I think we will be more than happy to answer all of your questions that you may have. Rina, do we have any?
Let's see if we have any. Yes, we have. So please, can you share the presentation after the webinar? Yes, Victoria will share the presentation after the webinar along with recording. Could you repeat your start after a 7-day post install? 80% delete the app. No, not 80% delete the app, 80% of churn users. So those who don't open the app anymore. This is the statistics that we get with our users. If you have any other numbers, please share it with us. It will be very interesting for us to learn your case. But typically 80-90%, I would even say, just open the app for the first time, make some actions, close the app, and doesn't return to it. Okay.
Yeah, one more question. Is there a full training video that helps talk about the journey and triggers? Yes, we have this video. We will share it via the link along with like the A/B testing materials. So that will help you to start using them. Also, we like have documentation in Pushwoosh with the explanation of different use cases that you have and like the overall functionality that we have for customer journey, not only about the A/B testing, for example, but for example, for ability to set tags right away in the journey without having to implement anything into your own app. So yep, we have, and we will share it after the call. Also, you can also always contact us and request a demo of any functionality. We will be more than happy to share like the features and possibilities of our product with you.
Yes, I see one more question here for me. So please share the best practices. How often should we send push notifications? So yes, as to this question, I would probably share my presentation because we had this part in the presentation, but couldn't show it to you. Mike, could you please open the presentation?
Sure.
So yes, and I guess it's 13 slide. Yes, right.
Yeah.
So as to this question, actually there is no right question. How many push notifications should you send to your users per day or per week? First, it really depends on the industry that your app belongs to. For example, as we see in our cases, e-commerce apps usually sends just 12 pushes per week, just for the active users or for users who not so active. I mean, they don't open the app last 7 days. I don't include here the transactional messages like your order is ready or something like your purchase has been approved or something like that. Just promotional push notifications. Fitness apps, they usually send less notifications, like tens per week. Media can send, it actually depends on the media. We have some media who have CTRs like 3% or 4% and send like 30 pushes per day. Some send less pushes, like 30 push notifications per week, and get somehow the same CTR. So basically, it all depends on the media, on the audience that you have, on the segmentation that you choose, personalization features that you use. Subscription-based apps or product apps, they usually send and say that they are comfortable with 10% with 10 push notifications per week. Gaming may send 30 push notifications in the first 7 days, like in in the course of their onboarding flow, and they say it's okay with their users. So it actually all depends on your case and your features. We have one more questions I see. Do you have any stats about emojis? Um, yes, I'm gonna share the recent case with our media app. We tried to include emojis in their subtitles, so the description of the push notification. Um, we we send it like for 3 days and compare the made the A/B testing compared to the segment who received push notifications without emojis. Our results were that the CTR increased up to 15%. Mike, correct me if I'm wrong. 15, 17.
Yeah, I believe you're right, as far as I remember.
Yes, but in our previous experience, if you use emojis in e-commerce apps, it may increase your CTR up to 40%, 35%, like in this range. So what kind of application do you have?
Yeah, and by the way, like all of the e-commerce stores that we're working with are using emojis because that's definitely working for them, for example. Because like emojis is the way how you can like improve your content and make it less informative and more friendly for your user base. So, well, again, usually it depends on the industry that you're working with. But for example, for e-commerce apps, emojis is like standard right now.
Yes, thank you, Mike, for your comment.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, so I see that there's no more questions. So thank you all for joining us today. Again, we will share the presentation and the recording of this webinar after the call. And feel free to reach us with any questions you may have. We'll be more than happy to help.